as his height of rascality. Height of rascality. That it was even announced in Washington. I committed a treasonable offense. And I'm in Onitsha. And my minister went to announce it in Washington. This is what I'm talking about. We're not talking about wasting governance here. People don't want to understand. The amount it costs Nigeria for him to go and announce that in Washington can fix, I can tell you, I've been in government, can build a block of 6 classrooms in a primary school. I'm sure if you go to his village, there's so many places where children don't even have desk or classroom to go to school. And instead of using that money to go and do it, he used that money to go to Washington to announce of treason of somebody who is in Onitsha. He doesn't need to do that.
Apt and direct shot fired. Shot fired. I said eloquent, majestic, and ballistic shot fired. There's a reason he's called Okute. He's not called Okute for no reason. Directly. Apt. That's my president. That's the person I voted for. And I've said it before. Firing shot at the Minister of Information and Culture is an indication that he's saying, go and get, that's the Minister of Information. If there are information about this guy that you want in public place, go and bring it out. I'm sure the other party who claims that they are major opposition cannot even stand some of these things that Okute tries. That's a fact. The point is, Peter Obi has come. As a golden boy of Nigerian politics, he has come to change the terrain. He has got into it. And for the fact that he started May with this particular interview, is an indication of what is to come. I don't know how long, whether Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be sworn in. I don't know how long he's going to be being there after being sworn in. But I'm sure that for the days that this government will exist until certificate of return is returned to the rightful owner, they are going to be waiting for an opposition like never before. Everything will be handled with specific attention about the Nigerian people more than anything else. It is not a time where after elections you are seeking people, cash cows. You give them money, give them largesse, you give them appointments with the disguise of government of national unity to shut their mouth, or you threaten them, you bully them, and that's what the Minister of Information wanted to do. Say he's been investigated for treason. Excuse me. Come and attack him, come and arrest him. That's the point. That's it. That's why this government has totally disrespected us, because the people that we give trust to somehow goes and sell out. This one cannot sell out. And Peter Obi made it very clear on several situations. This interview about the Labour Party crisis, about this alleged conversation with Bishop David Oyedepo, about the issues around the detention in the United Kingdom, several other issues. And again, as usual, about the governance and administration of our resources to the betterment of all in this country. He spoke well, and I want to watch this video. It's the first of a long time, yeah. And then thanks to Arise, that has now shown that Channels TV is a disaster. Of course, you should know by now that Channels is APC, and I see that they keep twisting, and Channels TV even had to make a post that was a particular lie about Peter Obi urgently calling for Nnamdi Kanu's release, which is not a bad thing to do, but that was deliberately trying to sell an ethnic agenda and make people to distrust to say, okay, is that the goal? They have to go and apologize and take it down. The process it takes to forget. So watch this video and please take your time to watch it and share this video. It's a long video, but take your time to watch it and share. Let this video go around. Peter Obi is still talking. They don't like him, but they cannot stop it. Let them keep the certificate of return in a good place so they're not dirty ammo, because they will return it. They will return it. I'll see you at the end of the video. Watch it and share it.
Thank you, Charles. One is, I was never arrested. I was never detained. And I did not commit any offense. I was stopped for a routine immigration check because there appears to be a duplication of my identity. And all this lasted for maximum of 20 minutes. And I was treated in what I do, with all due respect, Charles, I lived in the UK in the 90s, say from 1993 until 2005.
I remember meeting you in London, actually, in that period.
Yes. Charles, not just that I lived there, from that 1993 till now is a period of 30 years. I have never been questioned, arrested, detained in any country in the world. I've never been, for any reason, found myself in any manner being questioned for any offense. I've not committed any offense. So it was a routine immigration check. And it lasted, like I said, less than 20 minutes. And I was actually given all the due respect by the border personality that interviewed me, who told me, your identity is duplicated, be careful. And actually had to walk me through what I can call the VIP process and everything. And I have a written document from British government.
I've seen that document.
Thank you. I showed it to you.
Clarifying the situation.
He was never detained, and it was just a few minutes question and everything. And they were Nigerians because I arrived on British Airways. So they were Nigerians who were queuing up. Even Woods here was even worried that I was asked to just wait for a few minutes. And when that happened, I explained it to them, and they said nothing. But it's been traumatized and everything because it's me. People said I was detained, committed an offense. People said even committed several offenses and everything. Oh, his company was closed. He wasn't paying tax. Charles, for the years I lived in Britain, never have I had any day been questioned. And I can say it, my taxes, my days were duly paid. In fact, most times they have refunded me money for overpayment. I've borrowed money, I've done everything globally. Not one day did I default in any. If you find one default, then it's not Peter Obi.
Well, I'm glad you clarified that point about the arrest. And in support of the point you're making, I have seen the letter from the British High Commission making it ineluctably clear that it was no such thing. Nevertheless, as you said, there was a huge hullabaloo about that in Nigeria. I mean, was that a humiliation for you, or at the very least embarrassing that all this was being talked about you, and I mean, even the people who follow you were disappointed?
Charles, I would have made comment on it earlier, but these things happened during what I call holy month, where for me as a Christian, it was a fasting period and period of the Ramadan. And I felt it is not time to make comments. I only answered one question within that period when I was mentioned with treason, because I felt it's a huge offense. And because it was actually mentioned where it shouldn't have been mentioned. Other than that, I just felt this is the clarification. And I've just shown you the letter.
Yes.
I won't go about telling everybody and showing everybody the letter.
Yeah, that is true.
It just showed you where we've taken our rascality to where people now come up with all sorts of things.
Well, some people said you were deported from the UK. But obviously not.
No, they said I was routine check and I was allowed to go.
Right.
They even saw where I attended churches and meetings and everything. But that's where we have reached.
But I mean, what sort of questions did they ask you when they took you in?
Nothing. I was there. Nobody took me to anywhere.
Right.
I was just in front of a counter, and I was asked a question, and they said, "There's something wrong with your identity. There's something wrong with your identity. Just give me a few minutes," and that's it. And I sat there for the few minutes, for about 15 minutes. He came back and said, "Your identity is duplicated." And if my identity is duplicated, you've lived abroad as identity theft, duplication, which I would say should actually must have originated from here. But
Well,
that is for another day.
Yeah, I'm glad you've clarified that point. But there's also another question being raised about whether you are a dual citizen. As you said, you lived in London for a long time. I mean, do you have dual nationality, either British, American, or elsewhere? Because I was reading somewhere that you were conferred with the honorary citizenship of Dallas, Texas in 2022.
Charles, you know what that means? It means nothing.
Yeah.
Even one of the presidential candidates said that it means nothing. It just shows that, okay, well, if you come into this city, you're welcomed. It doesn't even give you a visa. If you apply for a visa, it can't even help you for your visa application. It means nothing. Charles, I've never applied.
Right.
And I will never apply for citizenship of any other country.
Yeah, but
I'm a Nigerian.
Right.
But I believe in Nigeria. I lived in the UK for a period of about 12 years. I had a permanent stay.
So you were a permanent resident in the UK?
But I had indefinite stay.
Right. Okay.
Which means I can stay there for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But when I left the UK in 2025, I went back to them and said, take your stay. I'm no longer have anything. And now go to the UK with visa.
And also to clarify the fact that even if you were a permanent resident, that doesn't make you a citizen of that
Well,
country.
I'm just telling you that
Yeah.
even that stay, I returned it.
Right.
I have never applied, and I will never, as long as I live.
Right.
My family knows this, everybody knows that I was born in Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian. God created me a Nigerian. He would have made me an American, or a Japanese, or a British. But since he made it that I'm a Nigerian, I will want to live and die in Nigeria.
Nevertheless, Asari Dokubo, who is a well-known person from Rivers State, says he can prove that you are a citizen of the Solomon Islands, and that the conditions for buying property there is that you must be a citizen. What's your reaction? Do you own property there?
One, I don't know where is Solomon Island. I've never been such a place in my life. You know, I don't know. I've never been there. You know, I've no reason to go there. Few places I've gone in the Caribbean are places like Haiti. I was in Haiti when they had the earthquake. I was a governor then. Everybody who is close to me knows that I've been to most troubled places in the world. So when there was earthquake in Haiti, I went to President Jonathan. He's still there. I said, Mr. President, I'm going to Haiti. They had an earthquake. I want to go and help them to rebuild. He was even surprised. He said, Peter, why? I said, that's what I've done all my life. I've been to most troubled parts of the world. As I'm speaking to you, Mr. President, I've withdrawn my son from school. We're going there to Haiti. And I went there. The High Commissioner then will tell you, I even met some police officers from Nigeria who were there. They will tell you, I even traveled with some of the people who, Bob Manuel, who used to be one of the actors. He saw me and said, I'm going to this place to help them rebuild. And I helped them to raise money then, over $200,000. So I've been to Haiti and I've been to Barbados. So other than that, I can't remember. I don't know where Solomon Islands, Charles.
Right.
I've never been there. I don't own a property anywhere outside Nigeria except in the UK where I lived.
Yes.
Other than that, any other place that there's a property in the name of Peter Obi, it is fake. It doesn't exist. And I don't need it. Why would I own a property where I don't live?
Well, I'm glad you clarified that point, but I'm afraid there are other things that need clarification. The Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, recently called for your arrest, accusing you of treason. Do you see any links between your activities lately and any treasonable offenses? Charles,
is height of rascality. height of rascality that it was even announced in Washington. I committed a treasonable offense, and I'm in Onitsha, and my minister went to announce it in Washington. This is what I'm talking about. We're not talking about wasting governance here. People don't want to understand. The amount it costs Nigeria for him to go and announce that in Washington can fix, I can tell you, I've been in government, can build a block of 6 classrooms in a primary school. I'm sure if you go to his village, there's so many places where children don't even have desk or classroom to go to school. And instead of using that money to go and do it, he used that money to go to Washington to announce of treason of somebody who is in Onitsha. He doesn't need to do that. It is rascality of the highest order. These are the reason why we want a new Nigeria where things will work the way it works in other climes. From there he went to London, announcing the same thing. Well, I'm in Nigeria. He should have come to see me or invite me and said this is the offense. How did we get here?
Yeah, that's a good question, but I'm afraid it will remain a rhetorical question at the moment. Some of your followers, just moving on from that, who are known as obedience, have recently engaged in a sort of caustic exchange of words with Professor Wale Soyinka, the Nobel laureate, and he said that they simply don't accept any form of criticism. And I think it was around the time when he made the comments about fascism and your deputy, Yusuf Baba Dati Ahmed. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Charles Prof is a respected, revered personality in Nigeria and globally. And I've always respected him. And he's a dear father to me. And for me, I was very, very sad that there was such a change. Some of the obedience, I must tell you, or people they, mentioned that the obedience are not entirely people who are with us. The oppositions have also come into it and are using it at times.
You mean other opposition
Other
parties?
opposition parties.
Right.
But that is not to worry about. But I was very sad there was such a change between a respected father and but you have to understand this. These young people are people who have been so deprived by supposedly a system that is supposed to care for them. They've been pushed to the wall. Even me, Charles, the way they even react when I say things, but I could see their pain. I could feel it. Because I live in the same system, Charles, that they are living in. I said it in Enugu 2 days ago. I said, listen, I lived in this town. I went to JL in Enugu as a student, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and paid 2,600 and something naira for a Volkswagen car. And within 2 years, Umano Motors in Nsukka sold a 505 to me at 2,700 naira, sorry, at 6,800 and something naira in the same country. I remember Ozumano telling me that they have too many orders from so many lecturers, so my own will be delayed. If you go and see people like Professor Wala, my lecturer then, they are driving new cars. It's some society where we lived, everything was working. All of a sudden, these young fellows now live in what you can consider a war situation. So at times, you know, there's issues. I will make my own comment in it that Prof remains a revered father, and I'll keep respecting him for that. And of course, young obedience, I feel for them. I wish we can see what they're saying. I wish we can feel what they're feeling. The pain, chance I go around these young people, there's nothing the society is offering them.
Well, it's not just the
even when they try to do it on their own.
Yeah.
This is a place where if you carry today, you are moving around with laptop, you are arrested and labeled all sorts of names. This is a place where people are thrown into jail for even making comments. These are places where people, all sorts of things are meted on these people. When people who have stolen billions of country's money, done worse things, are moving around, being celebrated, being used as an example to them.
Now let's turn to the President-elect Bola Tinubu, whom, from what I read, you recently visited or were shown on social media to have visited. That suggests that you're making reconciliation moves. What are the reasons for that, and what would you say to your followers, the obedience, who might, in a sense, feel betrayed by that move, if it did in fact happen?
Charles, it did not happen. I've never visited him. I didn't. You know, these are one of the things I'm telling you. They've turned the whole thing into a joke. So what it is now is, what are we going to do to crush this person? What are we going to do to label him this? If it is not to label him tribal bigot, religious bigot, if it's not sticking, maybe we'll find his family, maybe have a love child somewhere, maybe all sorts of things. You know, duplicated identity, everything. Because I've been to the UK about 3 times this year, you know, this issue. So it's all about, oh, let's go to Washington and announce to them that is treason, that is involved in this, involved in that. Charles, I did not visit anybody.
Okay, well, that's a clarification.
So my followers are saying, will remain steadfast in the course we've chosen. And that is to do the right thing. We went into election with a strong faith in the law that was signed by Mr. President, with a strong faith in the statements of Professor Mahmoud, which was said globally, said it in Washington, said it in Chatham House, in places where even other electoral bodies don't come to say anything. He said it all over Nigeria. Even when people doubted it, he said nobody should doubt it. It's going to be this real time. Why do we have to go through that? Just why do we have to? Why is this country built that things must be wasted?
Well, you and your party, the Labour Party, are now preparing to enter into a storm of the unknown, into legal, uncharted territory. You've filed a legal challenge in court. What is your sense of how it's all looking as your appointment with that tribunal draws near?
Well, the court will decide. I believe the justices also are on the spot. It is for them to interpret the Constitution, whichever way they do it. I've done it before. I've challenged similar rascality in my state. I've challenged it when I was impeached. I've challenged it when there was issue of tenor interpretation. So I'm challenging it again. And the judges are also on trial. Because on trial of interpretation of our Constitution, of the law, of the process. Like I said, what we are challenging is not just about who is there or who is not there. It is the process. Just the process through which people get to anywhere is far more fundamental than what they do thereafter. I recall asking one of the professors a few days ago, I said, can I be a professor? Can I start writing I'm a professor without having to do the necessary work of being a professor? He said, no. I said, okay. Who said I'm not probably more intelligent than most professors? But there's a process. And it's that process that I want people to respect. There's a law. That's why we went through that electoral law that we celebrated. And that's what we challenge.
What's really going on in the Labour Party?
There's nothing happening in the Labour Party. I like what you said. There's nothing wrong in Labour Party. It's the same rascality that is going on all over the place. The chairman of Labour Party is Barrister Julius Abure. That I can tell you.
But you have to admit that all this wrenching, wrangling and sort of petty fights and quarrels over positions, etc. I mean,
which position are they fighting for?
Well, I mean, we see it virtually every day.
Because people are paid, people are hirelings, being paid to distort facts and everything. For example, Charles, I've never met Mr. Papa. And supposedly, you can say that I'm a meaningful figure in Labour Party. I'm the presidential candidate. So, but I've not met the other party chairman, and he's not looking for me. So, there was a purpose. It's because of the transactional politics we do, where rather than spend our energy and time trying to do the right thing, we spend our energy and time trying to do the wrong thing, paying people to do the wrong thing, paying people to create, because we live off this confusion. In Labour Party, we don't have an issue. The party is intact. The party is working. The party was founded by Labour, NLC, TUC, the Labour organization. They founded the party. That's why today I had to quietly go and join them, solidarity in what they're doing, because they are the owners and we're working seamlessly in as it's supposed.
Well, I mean,
but you have to have all these problems by paid agents and everything. And that notwithstanding, because we're a family, we're even trying to bring everybody, even those to say they've paid you, maybe you've done the job they want you to do, please come, let all of us be a family.
Right.